Oh. Go ahead. What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video, joined today by a very special returning guest, Shabar.
What up?
What up?
What up?
Whoa, she's a trickster. It's a jazz hands? What was that?
You know, it's just a little, the dancer in me.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah.
You've done that before.
Maybe.
Perchance. Listen, we have a, well, number one, welcome back. It's been a while since we've done some content.
It has. It's been a minute.
It has been. But, you know, they loved your last video, so I was like, yo, come back through.
Thanks, peeps. I'm excited.
Word.
I'm glad to be back.
Let's get in there. So this one is from a Patreon supporter. Shout out to you, Mr. Michael Bennett. Why Miss Independent can't find Mr. Right?
Why?
Wow, why? I wonder why. I wonder what she's gonna talk about, because you never know. You get people up on stages and they will say whatever, whatever it is that they want.
Oh boy.
And this is from Annie White. I don't know who that is. And this is another TEDx Wilmington Women's event. So, anything to say before we get started?
No, I'm just excited. I want to know why.
Yeah.
I just want to know why.
You want to know why?
I want to know why.
Let's figure
Let's
it out.
find
out.
out.
All right. Without further ado, let's get right at it.
I'm Andy White, founder of I'mSickOfSingle.com. And before I get started, I want all of my independent women to make some noise. I see y'all, I hear y'all, and today I'm going to teach y'all how to find Mr. Right. Because we're not taught that. As women, we are taught one universal thing about dating, and that is to wait. Wait for the man to approach you. Wait for the man to ask you for your number. And wait for the man to ask you on a date. And do you know what that truly teaches women? That everything in our love life is on a man's time and terms. Ladies, if you think that is asinine, because you don't wait for anything in your life, then it's time to bring that same level of confidence and proactivity that you bring to every other area of your life to your love life. Because the reason you can't find Mr. Right is not because you're not beautiful, and it's not because you don't bring valuable things to the table.
It could also be that, though. Let's keep it funky.
It could be multiple reasons.
It could be multiple reasons. It's usually.
But there's somebody for everybody.
Absolutely.
Who you think is not attractive, somebody else be like, dang, she fine.
I absolutely 100% agree with that. So this is apparently a women's event, so that's the first thing. So,
Yes.
But when a woman gets on stage and said it's not because you're not beautiful, it's not because you're not valuable, it could also be those things. Let's keep it funky. Let's keep it funky.
Everybody's valuable. Everybody is valuable.
There's different levels to value.
There are.
You know, and you can't expect someone with 100% value to want to bang with someone with a 20% value.
But you don't know that unless you speak.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that this is what she's about to talk about is the woman should speak first, and I have my own thoughts about that.
Oh.
But let's get back in it.
I can't wait for this one.
We'll get back in.
The reason you can't find Mr. Right is because you are waiting on him to find you. And don't get me wrong, because I wholeheartedly believe in the scripture that says, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing. My question to you, however, is what are you doing to be found? And so how you help Mr. Right find you is by developing the courage to flirt first. And I say that for three main reasons. The first is because men approach significantly less today than they did just 10 years ago. And they approach less for one main reason, and it's because women are less approachable.
A lot of dudes are going their own way. Shout out to the MTandR movement. I think a lot of it has to do with that. And also, too, why I need to approach you when I could just shorten my Tinder distance to 1 mile away and find your ass on Tinder anyway? I'm sorry. Did you have a comment? Because you know she's there.
Well, I'm saying I think this part of what she's talking about is we're not talking about the social media aspect of it. Face-to-face interaction with someone. Tangible, like, hey, hi.
Yeah.
Not, hey, hi.
No, I'm with you. I'm for it. But she's saying that the woman should be doing some of the traditional masculine roles of hunting. So I agree with you. I would like, and this is the way I was being facetious when I'm talking about the Tinder. Well, this and the third. You know that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't know if I necessarily agree that this, this like idea. So it's at a women's movement. A women's TEDx panel about being independent. The first thing that she asked is, all my independent women, round of applause or whatever. So what she's essentially trying to do is to take the ownership of dating back into her own hands or the women's in the audience hands in order to further push this idea of being independent and being strong in your femininity, all that cool stuff, I suppose, right? But at the same time, and let me get your thoughts on this, and then we'll continue off on the video because she might hit on some other points. Women pursuing men, I think, is inherently a little bit more. It breaks tradition. It's much more of a. I think it's much more of a masculine trait than a feminine trait. I think much more of a feminine trait is, allowing a man to pursue you that you're interested in. So I want to get your initial thoughts, and then also maybe your personal experience. Have you ever, pursued?
See, I think you're saying pursued, but I think there's a very big difference.
Between approach. Okay.
Correct. Okay. I think you can approach someone and not pursue. If I approach you, it's because I understand, let me rephrase this. I've had conversations with plenty of my male friends about the difficulties of approaching a woman, especially if she's in a group of females. It's a little difficult to give a little bit of that. I try to approach if I'm in the mood to approach. I may not be in the mood to approach. I do want to be pursued. I do want the man to approach me, but I will approach, introduce myself, and that is it. If you are not pursuing me after that, then that's where that ends.
Yeah, and I like that. I think that, but and I appreciate you correcting me, because the difference between approach and pursuit is definitely very different.
Yeah.
But I bang with that. I feel like, if she's interested, I like to see the tells, right? Now, whether or not I look across the bar and you look at me for about 2 seconds longer than what you should be looking at another human being.
Right.
Or I'm looking at you across the bar, I turn around, all of a sudden you're 2 seats away from me at the bar. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
she moved quick.
Yeah, she moved. Right, she's quick.
Hey.
She jazz handed
right.
me. I'm like, damn. You're right. But you're doing things in order to make yourself available.
Correct.
Is what I'm saying. So, and you might you might tap on my shoulder, ask me a quick question, and just go about it at the bar.
Yeah.
But I think the difference in my mind and what I think she's going to get to is the woman asking the man for his number. But I don't know. Maybe we should get back into it and then see.
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
Think about it. As an independent woman, you are busy. So when you're out and about, you're rushing in and out of places, your head is buried in your phone, and you rarely take the time to engage with your environment. And in those rare instances, when you do happen to make eye contact with a cute guy, you probably get nervous and look away. And if you are one of those brave souls who can maintain eye contact, you probably have resting bitch face. So he looks away. And the unfortunate part about that is the main guy who's still approaching without needing a look, a smile, or any encouragement from you is who I like to call Larry the Lame. And Larry is lame because he approaches every girl he's attracted to. Since he figures, if I approach 10 girls this week, I can seduce at least one of them into sleeping with me by next weekend. And I don't want you to stereotype Larry, because some Larrys are very handsome, charming, and educated. So don't assume Larry is lame in terms of status or appearance. But rest assured, every Larry is lame as it pertains to character. And the unfortunate part about that is so many women spend their entire love life dating lying, lame Larrys. All because they're too afraid to talk to the guy who's not talking to them. Since they erroneously assume if he was attracted, he'd be approaching. But that's not necessarily true, considering the fact that Gary, the good guy, isn't approaching is due to the fact that he's not as desperate for attention or cocky enough to believe that all women want him. Because he's humble, he values quality over quantity, and he's the all-around better dude. Don't y'all agree that's the guy you should be talking to? Instead of the slick, smooth-talking guy who approaches every girl he's attracted to? I do too. And once you develop the confidence to flirt first, you're going to start meeting more of the right people. Now, the next reason you have to start flirting.
You want to talk about that point real quick before?
So I do want to mention that she's talking about flirting first.
Yeah.
This is what she's really talking about, is the flirt first if you are interested in the guy that you're looking at.
Yeah, I think nothing wrong with that. I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think she made a point. I'm not really jiving with her lame Larry thing. I don't think it means that he's lame. It just means that he has more confidence in his swag. I wouldn't just say that he's lame or just give up that point. What I will say though, that there is something to be said about dudes that are of high value don't necessarily need to, like, they don't feel like they need to talk to every girl. And a lot of times they have so many in their backlog already that they don't have additional time to even enter in, right? Like they're like, this is what happens. They look at you, right, from across, and they're thinking to themselves like, oh, okay, she could probably take the 6th position slot, right? Like if she's probably a little bit better looking. Yeah, she's probably a little bit better looking than my 5th position right now. So maybe I'll go give it the time of the day and then, recalibrate after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to her point, like a high value dude, may not feel like, he may see you and be like, oh, she's attractive, but then would never, because he just doesn't need to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So is just not interested. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, I think like it may not be as like just off of pure attraction level. Mm-hmm. That may just be like a like she's banging, but I'm not gonna step outside my own way. In order for me to go over there with the chance that she may not respect my, me coming up and saying something anyway. So why even go through with it, and do it to pursue when there's not like concrete, like, oh, she's looking at me, she's choosing me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Man, I want to do that. Unless she makes it abundantly clear through this flirting phase that it's going to be worth his while.
So, okay. So then, as a man, if a woman gives you the look, mm-hmm. as in what she referred to, she looks at you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Are you approaching? If you're interested?
If I'm interested, yeah. Okay. I mean, if I'm interested and she gives me the look, I'm going to approach as long as I can do it in a way that won't devalue the situations around me. Does that make sense?
So what situation?
Eyes are always on you.
Okay.
Eyes are always on you.
Agreed.
Word gets around, Right?
Would
like, especially in a
town
town like this. Huh?
Would you just approach a woman?
Yeah, but it just depends. Who around me knows other women that are...
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? In or around my lifestyle, right? So as long as the benefit offsets the cost, and she's giving the look, and I'm finding her attractive, then you know what I'm saying. But you got to move differently. you know, because you don't want this tag of the lame Larry,
Larry.
yeah, whatever it is that.
See, but I think what she's referring to is the guy who he doesn't get a look. He doesn't. I mean, she couldn't have never looked at him, and he approaches every girl at that bar.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? I think that's who she's referring to as lame Larry, and I am glad though that she kind of went back and said, I'm not talking about in status or his appearance, or but just in the simple fact of his character, that he will approach any single woman in the place.
Yeah, it's sloppy is what I was trying to get at. And you know, your character can come off as sloppy.
Sloppy
you know?
Sal?
Sloppy Sal. Look, we just tagged something else. You should do your own TED Talk.
There we go.
All right, you want to see her second point?
Let's do it.
Let's get in there. You liking this video so far?
I like it.
All right, cool. Let's get back in it.
First is because, let's be honest, you are over online dating. Raise your hand if you are over online dating. She raised her hand and her foot. And rightfully so, considering half the guys online report to be more interested in being a hookup than a husband. And many of the other guys online misrepresent themselves in terms of posting misleading pictures and fabricating their age, their income, their height.
She's talking about women, right?
She's talking about men, but I will say both can do that. Men and women fabricate things.
Okay.
Not just men.
Okay.
Both.
I don't have access to the man side of Tinder, so I'm gonna rely on what you're saying as truth. But when she's talking about, I'm like,
online
women do that wholeheartedly.
I just said that both men and women fabricate things.
Okay. Who do you think fabricates more? Women are walking fabrications from time to time.
I was gonna say enlighten me, but I want to stick to what we are discussing because this is a whole nother topic. Because I already know where he's about to go. I already know. I feel it in my soul. I feel it, and I would love to have this discussion.
Okay, we're gonna do another video
come back to
on this discussion.
Okay. You better write it down and remember.
I'm gonna write it down. We're gonna talk about it. Walking fabrications. That's gonna be the name of the title of the video.
Okay,
Prove me wrong. We'll make a prove me wrong video.
Oh goodness, here we go. You can't prove somebody wrong who doesn't want to be proved wrong because he's not even open. No, he's not.
I'm always open, girl. That's why I do all these conversations.
Prove me wrong. Let's go ahead and get back to this.
All right. Ready?
Their relationship goal, their relationship status, and anything in between. And in the event that you do happen to message one of the good guy unicorns, you still have to get in your car and drive all the way across town to meet him, just to see if you like him in person. All of that is a huge waste of your time, which is why I'm going to teach you how to meet men organically. Now, the final reason you must develop the confidence to flirt first is because by not doing so, you set yourself up for failure. And what I mean by that is, when I interview bachelors, I ask them, what is the worst thing you have ever done to a woman you love? And they tell me the unimaginable. And so I ask them, why would you run up her credit card and put her in debt? Why would you cheat on her and get another woman pregnant? Why would you physically abuse her if you claim to love her? And they admit, it's because I knew she wouldn't leave me. And they confess to knowing that by looking at the way she dated him. They tell me, when I met her, I could tell she wasn't social. And I could tell she was awkward around guys she likes, which means she doesn't like to meet men. And then within a few weeks of knowing him, she was all in trying to force a relationship, which means she doesn't like the process of dating men. And any woman who doesn't like to meet men or date men ultimately don't like to start over. So although he knows you deserve better, he also knows you're never going to be confident enough to go out there and find better. So even a decent guy will half love you and half commit to you and be half the man you deserve when he sees you don't even have what it takes to give you what you deserve. So why should he? But the relationship develops in a very different way when you flirt first, because he sees you're not weird and awkward. You are confident and charming. And that sets off alarms in men's head that he's dealing with his equal. So issues like he doesn't make time for me, or he doesn't take me out, or he doesn't take me seriously are non-existent, because he knows you will not be home stressed. You will be out with the next. Okay. And so I want to share one of my favorite flirting formulas that I've developed that will teach you how to flirt in such a way that doesn't make you look desperate.
Just real, you want to touch it? She's about to switch subjects real quick. You know, it's this happens on both sides of the coin. I think, you know, I've said this on the channel before, absolute power will absolutely corrupt, male or female.
Agreed.
You know, so it's a both thing. I mean, you see it on both sides of the coin. She named some examples there that do happen in relationships.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it happens to men as well. All of those things that she named and then some.
Right, but we're talking about why Miss Independent can't find Mr. Right.
I'd argue the women that she was just talking about were not independent women. They were weak women. They allowed a man to rule over them in a way that wasn't beneficial for them. I think those were just weak. If this is said why weak women can't find Mr. Right, I see. But this is independent. Or would you say that that's the definition of an independent woman, to allow a dude to ride up her card?
No, I wouldn't say that's the definition. But I think when you're talking about an independent woman, there can be different stipulations to that. Like, is she on her own? Is she doing her own thing? She has her own job. She makes her own money. Yeah, she's an independent woman. Doesn't mean she's strong-minded, weak-minded. You don't know that until, obviously, this occurs.
Until
like if you're
happens,
right,
yeah.
you know what I mean. So I think there's a different way to look at that. But she's speaking to women. Really, she's speaking to single women. So maybe you should say why single women can't find Mr. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's speaking to single women specifically.
Yeah. I don't feel like she's still answering. Like, I don't think I know why. Is the whole why because they're not making the first move? Is that what she's getting at?
I think that's what she's saying. That you're not finding Mr. Right because you're not approaching men that you would be interested in.
Here's the problem. Well, okay. So there's an approach thing there, but I think that let's be honest. I think there's also a checklist component there that you're not searching for the ones that would be most beneficial for you.
Agreed.
And instead, she's going after the ones that lead her down a windy path of bullshit, right? The credit card situation, the abuse of power, this, that, and the third, right? Like, I think Miss Independent can't find Mr. Right because she's not looking for Mr. Right.
I think that's true.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Okay.
Look, he thought I was gonna be like,
yeah. I know you was about.
I don't disagree. I agree. Miss Independent is not finding Mr. Right, partially because she's not looking for him. I think there are some of these things. I think some women who are dead set on, I will not approach a man. He must approach me. He must do all these things. Hey, more power to you. That's how you are. That's how you are. But if you're not looking for Mr. Right, then no, you're not going to find him.
I think a better TED Talk would have been about defining what a Mr. Right looks like.
Maybe you should do a TED Talk.
Maybe I should.
Look at that.
Not in Wilmington, though.
No.
I used to live in Wilmington. I hated that city. Hated it. Never going back. All right, we got like one more minute. You want to go back in there?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We want another formula.
Yeah, you're right. That's all the formula, girl.
Desperate, aggressive, or too forward. And it is called You Choose, He Chases. And You Choose, He Chases is a very simple process Step 1 is question. Step 2 is introduction. And step 3 is exchange. And you can use you choose, he chases in the grocery store, at networking events, at church. Anywhere men are, you can use this. And I'm going to share how I use you choose, he chases at the gym to meet my bae. So he was in the weight section, and so I walked up to him and I asked him the following question. I said, you look like you're in great shape. Can you show me some exercises to tone up this part of my body? And he said, sure, grab some weights. So as we were working out, we were conversing and developing a rapport. And then a little into that, I introduced myself by saying, you are my whole personal trainer, and I don't even know your name. I'm Annie. And then after our exercise was done, I exchanged by giving him my card and saying, this was fun. Let's work out again sometime. And the rest is history, because he's right there. Now it's called You Choose, He Chases, because you saw someone you were interested in, and you chose him by starting the conversation very indirectly. And then after some nice conversation, you decided to exchange by giving him your card. And when he calls you, he's chasing you because he's interested. But that might not have happened had you not put yourself in a position to be found and chased. So all my independent women, I need you to understand that men are life partners, not life savers. Which means 50% of the happiness that you experience in your love life is up to you. So don't be afraid to flirt first, because you are one introduction away from changing your entire life. Thank you.
You choose, she chases. What you feel like, what's your initial reactions to her method?
You choose, he chases, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I kind of like it. I'm not going to front. I kind of like it, but because it, again, is not putting the power in a woman's hands. I don't want to pursue. Mm-hmm. I do want to be pursued. I want to be pursued. So just the simple fact of choosing, like, oh, you know, this is somebody I'm interested in, whether it's just based off the physical first, cool, like introducing yourself, but then putting the ball in his court. Like, if you are interested, then here's my information and take it from there. And if he's not interested, then you know he won't contact you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big facts. I can't disagree. And I've had such situations like this before. Usually, like, if a woman wants to talk to me in the gym, the first thing that goes through my mind is, oh, she just chose me. Because usually, in this situation, what I probably would have said was, honey, you can't just tone up one part of your body. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. I probably would have judged a little bit in my mind. I would have kept it moving. However, I do think that, like, I feel like women can run better game, because the game can always be, you need help in doing something. And you know, men, we're fix-it type people. And we're just gonna be like, all right, cool. So, but before we know it, we're engaged in a conversation with you. And even though visually I may not have thought that you were, you know, stellar enough for me to come over to you first, through the personality, through the exchange, you might be raising your value. Like, oh, snap, like, you know, she's from the area that I'm from. She, you know, seems, you know, really cool, easy to talk to. And then I'm like, you know what? It's Friday night. I wonder what such and such from the gym is doing. You know? Yeah, I think it's easier for you guys to run game, because what I look like walking up to you, like, hey, do you mind, how do I, you know, this muscle like right here, do you know what exercises, you know what I mean? It's not gonna.
I don't think that's gonna work.
I don't think it's gonna go over fairly well. All right.
I like that though. I like that. But I think this is a prime example though, if you are the type of woman who is open to doing that. You have to be open to doing that. If you're not, then it doesn't matter the formula.
Listen, I think she makes some fair points. I think in the beginning I was thinking about pursuing, and then I was like, oh, where is she going with this? I don't want a woman to pursue me. You know? Yeah. You know, it's gonna be weird.
It is.
It's gonna be weird.
It's a little strange. That is strange.
You know? But I think, like, making yourself open to the interaction, to the approach, right? And then leave it in my court.
Yeah.
I bangs with that. I do bangs with it. So
I mean, personally, do you think that's somewhat attractive if a woman is approaching you?
I think it can attract me.
Okay.
And I think it goes back to, I may not have ranked her high enough in my index for me to go over there,
right,
interrupt my workout to bother her. But because she has now made herself available, and I get a closer look at her, she's talking to me in a really sexy type way, and she's obviously interested. You know what I mean? It could raise that level, right? Like,
okay.
But she gave, the opportunity. She gave the opportunity for the interaction. I think even now, like in this Me Too movement, like men we're a little bit scared to just talk to y'all out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like you never know. Like you open a door for a woman and it's a microaggression.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Or you just say, hey, what's up? How are you? And she gives you the scared look and she runs down the block. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, wait. And that's happened to me as well too. There's
so many factors, though. There's so many factors.
Listen, I'm not the type that's like, hey, yo, ma, like run across the street, all that whack type shit. Like,
I mean, even I've been approached by men who are still kind in their approach. Let me rephrase this. In my younger days, I probably was not as kind as I could have been to men who.
What you want, nigga?
Nah, never like that. Never like that.
Right.
But there are times where you don't know what that woman's been through that day. Like if you're like the 8th guy who's approached,
you know what it's called?
You're what?
Privilege.
I agree.
Oh, okay. Damn, we agree on a lot of shit.
Listen, I know there's privilege. I know, yeah, absolutely. Anyone who doesn't think they have privilege, you're fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. You have privilege in some way, shape, or form. Some way, shape, or form.
We should do another video on privilege. Well, you don't got a lot of time. What was the other video we were gonna do?
See,
I'll roll back the clock.
I told him to write it down.
I got bad memory. All right, listen.
It was something. Oh, dang it! I don't remember either.
I'm gonna roll back the tape. I'm gonna go back into the tape. We're gonna take
it back.
We're gonna play it back. Siobhan.
Yes.
We just did another one, girl.
We did.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate the opportunity to pressure test information like this in a way that I think is much more conducive than me just talking to you one-on-one, talking to the camera one-on-one about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I love this. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
I want to be able to do more. So
we've got apparently 2.
We got apparently 2.
So
1.5 because we don't know what the other one is right now, but we'll figure it out.
We'll get there.
Questions, comments, concerns, y'all already know what to do. Leave it down in the comment box down below. Feel free to send me an email, mediocretutorialsandreviews@gmail.com. I'm backlogged as hell though. There's emails that I see coming through that literally I just don't have time to respond to, but I'll eventually try to get to it. All right? Siobhan, thank you so much again for coming through. All right?
Anytime. Later, y'all.
Pardon the masculinity. You should whistle out. How did you get so good at it? Like, did you like you just practicing by yourself?
You know, honestly, my dad whistled all the time, and I think I just mimicked what he was doing. But then I realized when I would listen to music, I would constantly be whistling, and I would try to mimic what I was hearing, and then I just started whistling. Like it just happened.
Can you do like this?
I can't do that, but you know what I can give you? I can give you Mariah Carey because we did this acapella.
Always be my baby.
No, you'll know.